Today I'm going to paint a starfish using a masking liquid. Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, a watercolor artist, teacher and a book author. Welcome to my studio. Let's make a quick drawing. Something looking like a star. What we see in the nature is usually asymmetrical, therefore don't be afraid to make nice variety to your drawing. Let your starfish dancing. I will use masking liquid by Delia and Rowney, and when you use masking liquid, it's important that you use some of your old brushes which you're never going to use for painting. Grab some masking liquid on my brush and I will add dots in the middle of each, how you call it, part of the starfish, in the middle, but following the curve. If you draw this hand, this part curvy, these dotted lines should be following this. You can add some dots a little bit bigger, some dots a little bit smaller. Don't overthink it. It's a fun process. Then you need to close the lid and immediately wash your brush. I waited a couple of minutes until masking liquid gets a bit dry. Once your masking liquid change the color, it means you can go forward. I would like to glaze the whole starfish just with water. I try to distribute water evenly, avoiding puddles. Then I switch to my smaller brush. I have a very bright red-brown color, Dragon's Blood by MaimeriBlue, but you can also use burnt sienna for that purpose. And with my smaller brush, I just go around the middle of my starfish like this. Just go around and let my watercolor spread how it wants, just like this. I try to fill in the area between these dots made by masking liquid, but that's not necessary. Like this, and then I wash my brush. And now I would like to use something bluish green. I have nice cobalt green, or you can mix, for example, viridian and ultramarine blue to get more turquoise color. And then with the tip of the brush, now I go around the outside areas. I try to vary the thickness of my watercolor. Sometimes I use more diluted version, especially on the tips of the of starfish elements, and in between, in these areas where they connecting, I can use slightly bolder mix to add more shadows. And again, one side. Cobalts, all cobalts, they have some granulated texture. Therefore, soon we will notice how it works, how this nice uneven texture will appear. It's really fun to watch. But now we can just go around, adding our greenery mix basically on the top of our brownish brown gray. The more uneven you can create these bleeds, the better, the more interesting unique result you will receive. Now, once I'm done with a main wash, I can switch my brush to a smaller one, dry it a little bit, and use bolder mix of the same cobalt green and add some accents. For example, would be nice to add some bolder touches to the very tops. If you just add a drop, it will distribute by itself. And also nice to add some extra shadows, some extra boldness in these inside angles or inside curves, but only if the paper is still wet, because right here it's great if we can achieve these spontaneous wet in wet feeling. So once you notice that your paper is getting dry, you better stop. But while it is still wet, you can use slightly bolder mix, more dry brush that will allow you still work on the half dry texture, adding some touches, some spots around. For example, this area can be bolder. Something like this. I want to make it all uneven. Let's add some splashes. I look at this one and I want to make it really bright. Tipping moves with my brush alongside. And now I just need to let it dry completely. Always fun to see what happens after we remove the masking liquid. Don't leave masking liquids too long, otherwise it will stick to the paper forever. Just wait until your painting is completely dry. Now we can add a little bit of shadows and sandy texture. If we imagine that our starfish landed on some beach, glaze paper around. We can use something like raw sienna. We'll mute it with the same cobalt green I used, and just distribute it differently. Firstly, we paint in sandy part, and then we will add shadows. You can add different varieties of browns from what you have. That will make this background story more interesting. Move your brush in different directions. Try to be careful around the edges, around the shape of our star. But in principle, just try different things. I'm imagining that sun shines from the right side, therefore I will grab burnt sienna, relatively more thick and bold mix, and I try to add some shadow on one side, on the left side, around my starfish, sea star. Just soft moves, wet and wet. A little bit under this part and here. Already fun to watch. And now we can add just the same green you use. You can add the same green you use because this greenery from the star, it gets into the reflection, so it's nice to connect all these all together. Some splashes and splashes with burnt sienna. And if you like, you can add some salt. It will emphasize the sandy texture even more. So here it's really appropriate to create a nice salty sandy texture. With small brush you can add some small little design to these white areas. I use the same yellow ochre I used for the sand. Was it raw sienna? Sorry. Just to make them not looking like holes in the paper, and something more textured, more interesting. And now our starfish is ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the process. I'm looking forward to know what would you like to paint next. And see you soon. Bye bye.